Okay, now being 6:30, I'll call the Sterling Planning Board meeting to order, March 7th, 2024. All right, got another busy night tonight, so we'll get right to it. First thing on the agenda, we have a approval not required A&R plan for James Simpson, 2 lots on James Patton Way. Tax map 92, lot 108. So we have Jim Simpson here tonight with his plan, so wants to come on up.
Good evening, board.
We'll have a look.
Jim Simpson, Simpson Excavating Company. We have here a parcel of land that is on James Patton Drive. As Mr. Peters said, it's Assessors Map 92, parcel 108. It lies northerly of Redstone Hill Road and westerly of James Patton Drive. The zoning there is neighborhood residence. Required area is ½ an acre, and the required frontage there is 125 feet. This parcel has 2.751 acres, and it has 473.97 feet of frontage on it. What I'm proposing to do is to split that lot into 2 lots, which both meet the zoning requirements. They will have in excess, the lot with the least frontage will have 165 feet, and the other lot will have 308.97 feet. And the smallest lot is 1.268 acres, and the other lot's 1.483 acres. Much bigger than the required in that zoning district. The biggest issue with this, and I looked into it, and I provided your board, I think, with a legal opinion from my counsel, is James Patton's, how it's characterized. It is a private drive. It is not town-owned. It is not town-maintained. It is privately maintained. It does predate town zoning. So number 2 was built in 1942. Zoning, I believe, is 1954.
It is, yep.
Okay, and as to access, I know that's very important with regard to approval not required lots. It currently has the access to these lots up on the easterly side of James Patton, and 2 of them were done in the not too distant past. So permits were granted to build across the street. So the way we're looking at it is if the access is good for one side of the street, it's good for the other side of the street, basically.
Jim, that's a paved road, right?
Correct.
Okay, and we've heard from the fire department that they can provide services to the new lots.
Okay, excellent. I spoke with the Department of Public Works regarding it too, and Brian said that they don't maintain it, but he did ask that if I move forward on it, that I work with him to install a public water line up the road. Right now, the existing houses on there with frontage have a 1-inch line that runs all the way down the line. So if I move forward with it, I'll actually put in a water main and a hydrant and so forth to bring it up a little bit better.
Excellent.
Jimmy, I know this is an A&R, but if, down the road, are you looking to have a town-accepted road, or?
No,
Okay.
no, we don't propose to change anything with regard to the right-of-way.
Okay, all right.
What size main are you looking for, Jim?
He said, I believe, a 6-inch possibly.
6 inch.
Yeah, you don't have that many houses. Yeah.
Right, yeah. There would only be 5 houses on it,
Right.
which 6-inch would be overkill.
Yep.
That'd be a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Right. They then have the ability to flush the water line, because I'm sure these people are long dead-end lines have issues.
I'm sure.
So that would be a boon for the town. Sure. Does anybody have any questions? He did submit, like you said, that paperwork on explaining the date that the roadway was established and all that. Steve sent it out to town council for review, and it all came back exactly like you just heard. The only issue would be is, does the town have adequate access for emergency vehicles and fire? And the fire department came back and said that they absolutely did, so everything's in order. Anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions?
No.
Right, then, say we take a vote. I welcome a motion to approve the A&R plan.
So
Jim
moved.
Simpson, James Patton Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Here's the Mylar.
Yep, Patty will sign that for you.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I'm just wondering if you can make a clarification on the last hearing.
Yep.
If
I
we allow,
wasn't hearing Brian as an A&R plan.
okay, so it's A&R, but it's not a public road. I'm confused, like, why do we even need public roads if we just apply our frontage standards to private roads?
Well, like we said, it was established in 1942 before the subdivision rules and regulations came into effect in Sterling, which was 1954. So therefore, it becomes a qualifying way.
The way was established then, okay.
Right.
Okay. The lots weren't carved up in the way they are now, but the way was there, okay.
These lots, no, but the previous ones on the other side of the road, yes.
Yeah.
And there was a building
You can
permit
divide
issue.
land off of ways in existence prior to the town's adoption of subdivision.
Got it. So it's essentially predates subdivision concepts, okay.
Correct.
Got it, thanks.
All right. Let's move on to number 2. So we still haven't, yes,
I was just calling them in.
Mr. Chairman, before we begin, if I can recuse myself again on this matter, as it did begin before my election.
absolutely.
Hey, John, how you doing?
Sit there for this.
It probably makes more sense this time.
Can still participate too,
Yeah.
if you want.
All my questions. Presentations. He hasn't asked all the things I was scratching my head.
This gentleman there. Okay, so this is a continued public hearing on 17 Stonecrest Way, the Grand LLC Onyx Corporation. At our last meeting, we had some minor corrections that had to be done to the site plan, final corrections, and then sent it out to be reviewed by the peer engineer. That's happened. So we have Frank McPartland from Dillis and Roy. And Frank, why don't you go ahead and, you have a copy of,
Yes, I do. I can walk through Jeff's letter.
so why don't we start with that?
All right. Yes, my name is Frank McPartland from Dillis and Roy here on behalf of the applicant. I'm going to go through the March 4th peer review letter from Graves Engineering, the planning board's peer review engineer. Their comments are as follows. Town of Sterling, Chapter 301, Protected Bylaw. GEI understands that the proposed building is to be used as a garage maintenance building to support the ongoing earth removal and material processing operation. No further comment necessary. Hydrology and stormwater management. And I want to say that Graves' letter only addresses items that were left open from the previous review. So now I'm jumping from 1 to 11, just to make sure everyone's keeping track of that.
We got you.
Yep. hydrology and stormwater management. Originally, no information was submitted. The applicant needs to demonstrate compliance with the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection Stormwater Standards and Stormwater Handbook. Grading south of the building shows that stormwater runoff will flow southerly towards an unknown location. August 8th, 2023, acknowledged. The design engineer responded that the earth removal operation and accessory buildings are construction phase activities to ready the land for future development. GEI does not disagree that the site is likely to be developed after earth removal activities cease. GEI has no issue relative to compliance with Standard 8 construction phase erosion controls, sediment controls, and pollution prevention. During the design for future final development, the pre-development conditions will need to consist of those conditions prior to earth removal activities, that is, woods, ground cover, not bare soil. January 18th, 2024. The engineer has provided a stormwater report, which has been reviewed by GEI. Please refer to the additional comment sections below. And then GEI's March comment. As previously further explained below, the revised hydrology computations are in order and compliance with Mass DEP stormwater standards is reasonable. General engineering comments, number 12. GEI has no comments or issues at this time, and they reiterate no further comment necessary. General comment 13. GEI understands that any proposed utilities will be reviewed by the respective utility provider or the Board of Health. No further comment necessary. Additional comments, January 18th, 2024. Hydrology and stormwater management, item 17. GEI has reviewed the hydrology computations and found them to be in order except for the following 7 comments. And then GEI further states on their March letter, GEI has reviewed the hydrology computations and found them to be in order. Item 25, compliance with the Mass Stormwater Handbook and standards is reasonable provided that the following 2 comments are addressed. And then DEI follows that up with compliance with the Mass DEP Stormwater Handbook and standards is reasonable. Item 26, on sheet C 2.3, sediment basin 3B needs to have an emergency outlet, likely on the northern berm, to prevent scour or breach of the earth impoundment if the basin unexpectedly fills higher than anticipated. February 15th, 2024. An emergency spillway outlet has been provided, however the riprap armoring for said spillway should extend to the toe of the side slope. And then March, acknowledged. Sheet C 2.3 was revised such that the riprap armoring was extended down the exterior fill slope and onto the existing ground surface. General engineering comment number 28. There are several drainage infrastructure components for the stormwater management system that are missing pertinent information. For example, on sheet C 2.3, the 24-inch riser pipe within the stormwater basin 3D does not show the elevation for the inlet into the riser pipe. Further, on sheet C 2.3, the proposed water quality unit near the northeastern side of proposed sediment basin 3B does not include the rim elevation or invert elevations, and no construction detail was provided. The engineer needs to review the drainage infrastructure regarding the stormwater management system and provide the necessary information on the plans. February 15th, 2024, acknowledged. The pertinent information for the stormwater drainage infrastructure has been provided on the plans. For the record, there are 3 typographical errors on sheet C 2.3 regarding which detail sheet to reference for the proposed risers and water quality unit. Graves says in their March response, acknowledged the 3 typographical errors were corrected. Additional comments, March 4th, 2024. GEI has no issues with the plan set last revised February 26th, 2024.
All right, so those were the comments and those were the responses to the final things that we had on the plan last meeting. So at this point, I'll ask anybody on the board, do you have any more questions for these folks in regards to this site plan? We've got a lot of time into it. I think we've been pretty thorough. See if there's any more questions, and then we'll go over conditions.
And I do want to say that the board had some comments at our February 20th meeting, which we had addressed. We clarified snow storage locations on the plans. A nice bold and heavy hatch. We called out in detail the proposed septic tank and pump station. as well as the proposed industrial wastewater holding tank adjacent to the building. And we showed both the Mass DEP Zone 2 line and the Town of Sterling groundwater protection overlay district line. So get rid of all confusion, we're showing all those pertinent groundwater lines.
There, I saw the detail for the tank for the floor drain. It's all there that we asked for.
I don't have any questions.
Do we have any questions in the public?
Brian Klein, Retail Road. I have a question regarding where exactly we stand with the other boards in the town that have reviewed. If we can just kind of review where we are with that. I think Frank may have touched on it, but I'm just...
I don't know. We're just concerning ourselves with our board, what the Concom does and what they do. It's up to them, that's their board. So I don't have any information on what they're doing to this point. That's something separate from this.
Well, I don't know if, I was at the last Concom meeting and I think Frank and the applicant were there. And I guess the only member of the planning board that was there was Patty, so maybe she can speak to her experience. But I'm confused that there's still a fairly critical review ongoing with Conservation Commission, which could impact the way these chess pieces are laid out on the board. So I don't know how you can approve a site plan where the critical pieces, including civil engineering pieces or even the structure, could be moved.
It's a separate component. So if they get site plan approval here tonight, it still doesn't give them the right to pull a permit and to start building anything. They have to go through all phases, so that next one would be the Conservation Commission. They need to get through there before they can proceed and move forward. This is just one step.
Okay, so that's part of the order of conditions would be the Conservation Commission, as an example, that they complete their review.
We don't have an order.
I've been interfacing with the Conservation Commission. I'm sending them our reports right along. They've been sending us their reports right along. Matt Merrow, Conservation Commission member, he did ask that our decision mirror a couple conditions of approval that they plan to impose, and those are in here.
Thank you for that.
Clarify it for you.
That's good.
So, that being said, are there any other questions? Does the public have any other questions?
I actually have a question about the trails condition. I've seen a draft of it. I'm wondering if Stephen might be able to read. There's intent to have a bike and ped path through this land that relates to a commitment made when some of the lands were rezoned in 2007. And I'm just wondering if Stephen Wallace can read that particular condition. I think it might have been item 11 or something like that.
Well, I think we don't have it as a condition in our approval process, so. But I do know that being said, Mr. Durkins issued a letter that he's willing to continue working with the Open Space Committee on that to work on that path. That's between them. That really doesn't have anything to do with site plan review.
That commitment was a commitment set forth by the planning board in 2006, 2007. So this is the operative board and I believe the commitment extends back to a public hearing in 2006, 2007. So it's critical to include it.
There's nothing in the deed that shows that the town of Sterling has any right to any path that's on that property. So that's something that's between the property owner and the Open Space Committee, that they can work that out between themselves. It has nothing to do with site plan review. We don't look at site plans and figure out what we can get for our own pleasure.
It was
in addition to plan on it. We look at the site plan for its merit.
It was essentially, in soft terms, a prenuptial of rezoning that enabled the site to exist. And the intent of the governing body was that they would receive essentially receive a continuous path to Chauxet Road through these lands. And Amarillo registered easement. I know that they voiced intent to do this. I believe that they're operating in good faith, but I think it behooves the planning board to leave it in the order of conditions.
It's in the order of conditions for the earth removal permit, so that's
It's not in there.
It is.
That there's a path?
It's in
That
there.
they'll continue to work with the Open Space Committee on the path.
We're committed to it, to anybody in the room. We're gonna get that done
Okay.
for you
All right.
guys. So.
Just for the record, then I'll say there's a 2010 plan of land issued to Ann Damaris and on behalf of the landowners, which includes a proposed continuous path, which may shift depending on what makes best sense for the combined interest of Onyx as well as the town.
Something that
And
didn't work
that
out.
will be defined, and I'm willing to accept John's word on this at this point and move forward. Thank you.
Anything else? No. All right, so at that point, let me, we put in quite a bit of time on some conditions here, so we've gone back and forth, so I got some reading to do.
Mr. Chair, I think you can
Yes.
skip over the standard administrative
And
conditions.
I'll go right to site-specific.
I do want to ask their engineer one question regarding the administrative provisions.
Yes.
The last date of the plans is still February 26, am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All set? All right, so I'm gonna go right to I'm not gonna go through the standards that we put on all of them, I'll go right to the site-specific conditions. All set?
Agreed.
Okay, so number 6, all new parking spaces shall be striped, and the accessible space shall be placarded as required by the MA Architectural Access Board. Number 7, in lieu of installing a fire hydrant on the property, the applicant shall install a cistern for the purpose of having a water supply on site for fire suppression. The cistern shall be installed per the regulations of the Sterling Fire Department. The Fire and Public Works Departments shall inspect and approve the details for the proposed cistern before it becomes operational. Number 8, the floor drain holding tank must comply with State Regulations 314 CMR 18.0. Yes, it does. Number 9, the applicant will continue to use the Snowmaker water oscillator for the purpose of dust suppression. 10, the applicant will continue to provide blasting reports to the building and fire departments in the event of inquiries from abutters. Number 11, for any of the operations that are set to take place within the Sterling Groundwater Protection District, the applicant shall fully comply with Article 301-4.6.6 of the protective bylaws in its entirety. Number 12, the standard operating procedure outlining the operation and maintenance, O&M, of the sand drying bed will be submitted to the Planning Board and Conservation Commission prior to construction. The O&M plan will also outline the schedule of residuals, turnover of the bed, and the plan for dealing with adverse weather events. This approval is based on the use of polymer coagulants. Change to the process resulting in a change in chemical used as a coagulant must be submitted to the Planning Board and Conservation Commission for review prior to usage. The O&M plan shall include a list of flocculants being used and shall be updated annually, no later than the end of January each year for the duration of the project. Number 13, stormwater inspection reports shall be submitted to the Conservation Commission and Planning Board for the life of the Nepedes permit. 14, the Planning Board's consulting engineer shall inspect the project while under construction and issue reports to the Planning Board as necessary. The cost of this inspection service shall be paid for by the applicant, with the necessary funds deposited with the town into a 53G consultant review account. Said account shall maintain a minimum of $2,000. 15, the applicant shall follow the inspection schedule set forth by the Planning Board's peer review engineer and shall give shall give a 48-hour notice to the planning board's engineer whenever an inspection is required. 16. The applicant shall install 2 groundwater monitoring wells for groundwater sampling, and both shall be installed in the soil overburden, not the bedrock, as shown in section 4.1, figure 4.3.1 of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection standard references for monitoring wells. Wells shall be installed in the north and south ends of Basin 3C in locations set by the planning board's peer review engineer. The applicant's engineer shall provide water quality test results from the wells to be performed at an accredited water testing company. The test shall be specifically for the primary constituents that are contained in the flocculants currently in use and previously used during the course of the year, and that are distinguishable from naturally occurring and/or background components. The results of those tests shall be provided to the planning board twice a year. Samples shall be taken at seasonal high groundwater and at the end of the processing season. If any contamination is detected, the applicant shall take corrective measures immediately. The Sterling Planning Board reserves the right to take action if it deems necessary to do so.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes?
Did you want to add a condition about submittal of an as-built plan?
Yeah, so that'll be 17.
No.
So 17 will be that the applicant will provide an as-built plan at the completion of the project. Planning board. Whatever that might be. That's what I've got.
Okay, if you're comfortable with the conditions, you can close the hearing and make your vote.
Everybody, any more questions? Everybody good with those conditions? All right.
I'm all set.
Let's say it's time that we close the hearing on this to take a vote, so I'll take a vote on closing the hearing.
Motion to close the hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So our meeting is closed. So we've finally come to a time. I'll welcome a motion that we approve the site plan for 17 Stonecrest Way. I've said it so many times, I think I've got it memorized.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay, within the next couple of days, what I'll do is I'll write up the decision, send it to the board, send it to the applicant. Once I get the okay that it's good to go, Patty, are you authorized to sign site plan decisions, or does Carl need to do that?
Either one's fine, but I'm not around on Fridays anyway. so
I can
Oh,
sign.
well,
Sign
I'm not
it.
gonna have time to do
Oh,
it
okay.
tomorrow anyways.
Sign it.
I'll prepare it for Carl, he's in often enough.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
I'm gonna miss you guys.
Long time coming.
So thank you all very much. Okay. I know it was tough.
Never seen a planter shed a tear before.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. See you guys. All right. All right, so. Gosh. All right, so next we got a public hearing for site plan review, 14,000 square foot industrial building. For Broomfield Laboratories, so I'm going to go ahead and read the legalese, and we'll vote to open the public hearing pursuant to section 301, 6.4, site plan review, and 301, 322, parking and loading requirements, town of Sterling protected bylaws. Notice is hereby given that the planning board would hold a public hearing on Thursday, February 22nd, 2024, at 6:30 PM in 205 Butterick Municipal Building, 1 Park Ave, to review site plan for a new 14,000 square foot industrial building and a reduction in parking at 14 Leggett Hill Road. The applicant is Broomfield Laboratories. A copy of the site plan can be viewed at the planning department. So we have Bill Hannigan from Hannigan Engineering. He actually did a presentation on this last week. The response to Graves Engineering comments weren't ready yet, so he's back here today to officially respond to those. And it's my understanding that we have some changes on the parking and the special permit request, and I'll let you get to all that now, so.
For the record, Bill Haney with Hannigan Engineering. What we did at the last meeting, we talked about the special permit for a reduction in parking. And what we did was we talked about potentially using grid systems on the lawn and stuff like that, the grass areas. But as we got into it, we started looking at, quite frankly, whether that would be, even though I think the board is comfortable with that, I'm not sure if it's allowed for a non-residential use. So then we started looking at the pavement areas. I believe the parking in a non-residential use has to be on a paved surface. That's my read of the zoning, but I know that may be different. What we're able to do, though, is we're able to put parallel parking along the front of the proposed building. We were able to create 3 or 4 spaces in this area, a space here, a space here. So basically, it ended up being, by the time we get done, we were able to account for the required parking on the property without changing anything on the plan, except for adding striping. So this plan is the same layout, the same pavement, everything is the exact same, except we're now just striping areas that weren't striped before. The other thing that we did was we took a look at, because we had previously submitted information regarding truck turning on the property. And what we did as we were laying this out was we overlaid various truck maneuvering paths, and none of the paths none of the parking spaces are impacted by the paths or vice versa. So someone could be parked here, a truck could come in back into the dock area, then leave without any issue. So all the spaces are available 100% of the time. And that's, I think, a good accomplishment, and we're happy to request the withdrawal of the request of the special permit. And now we're back to a simple site plan, and the only other things that would need to be added to the plan from the last go-around were the addition of the water main that was found by the water department. They sent us some information on that, and then notes basically saying that we're going to cut and cap the service of the street, remove that, and reconnect it back on the new line that's coming in the building. So we're showing that information with the appropriate notes about that. And I believe that that's really it on the plans.
There's just been a couple of questions. Could you just touch base a little bit on the drainage again, what you're replacing from existing?
Yeah, let me just bring back this screen. So right now, there's an existing catch basin in this area here that drains under the building and connects to the existing drain that goes underneath the road.
What size line is that?
Right now, I believe it's a 12. I have to go back to the existing.
It's what you stated at the last meeting, it's 12 inches.
12.
It's actually it's an 8-inch PVC existing, okay, to a 50-inch PVC to a 24-inch HDPE, and we're proposing it to be a, if I look at drain manhole, catch basin 1, it's going to be a 12-inch. Drain manhole 3 is.
Are you bringing it up to 12, or is it existing 12?
Yeah, that's hard.
3 to 4. Three to 4 says in the chart 12-inch HDPE, but it's supposed to be 12-inch ductile iron.
Yeah, that's It's noted on one of your plans that it's submitted with the front parking. And there's a 12-inch line. It's noted there.
Right. So, let me make sure it says that on.
So it's on.
Yeah, here it is, right here, Dr. Line. So it says Dr. Line on the plan, this is what it's supposed to be. In the notes, it says HDPE, probably just copy the notes down. So, is that the clarification you were looking for? Yeah. Okay. We can make sure that that gets taken care of prior to construction.
All right. Does anybody have any more questions? Continue to look.
No more questions.
The only concern here is the butter that was in here
Yep.
last meeting, you know, that he's not gonna have
Kevin?
that overflow, right, Kevin Lavin?
Well, actually, what happened, what should happen, is any overflow that he would have that came onto the lot before would now either be directed into this basin in the back and then piped out,
Yep.
or if it got onto this side, it would be picked up this catch by this catch bait and piped out. So either way, any overflow that would be happening.
You didn't have it before.
I'm sorry?
You didn't have it before.
No, I think that the,
No, he didn't, when the rains and everything were,
When he had that flood,
well, yeah,
no, I'm not sure what he had for,
but I don't,
there have been occasions when water's overtopped and come
Yeah.
onto the site
Right.
now. What we've done as part of what we're doing here is provided basically a mechanism so it doesn't go in the buildings.
go in the building.
Right.
Right.
That's all I had.
yep.
So would you like to read the comments and responses there from Graves? Or
Yep.
go through that? Do you have it?
I do.
You want to work off the March 7th letter from today?
I have it right here.
Gonna read that thing?
It's really easy. There we go. All right. So, once again, so the comments basically are relative to the Town of Sterling Chapter 301 protected bylaw. GEI has no issues relative to compliance with this bylaw, and then no further comments. Hydrology and stormwater, GEI reviewed the hydrology computation, found them to be in order. He has no further comments. Compliance with Mass DEP's global standards and stormwater handbook is reasonable. GEI concurs the projects of redevelopment projects and improvements stormwater quality and reduction of peak grade runoff are proposed. And then he says no further comments. General engineering comments, he has no comments or issues. General comments, GEI understands Sterling DPW will review the proposed water infrastructure, which we've now updated on the plans. On the cover sheet, the address needs to go from 18 to 14, which we've made on the plans. And then GEI understands that the forthcoming revised set will address the issues discussed during the February 22nd, 2024 planning board meeting, including provision of additional parking, which we've now shown on the plans. And he's acknowledging that. He then was talking about the email set didn't have on the plan sheets, the revision block wasn't updated, so that's now been updated, and the dates all match as March 5th, 2024. On the cover
March
sheet.
5th or 6th?
March 5th,
Okay.
right?
March 5th.
Yes, March 5th, 2024, and the date's been updated. So that, I believe that was it.
So the date of the final revision is
March 5th.
March 5th?
2024, correct.
And we're pleased with you did to the parking.
We are too. Made it easier for both of us.
So should we make a motion to withdraw the special permit first. Okay. So a motion to allow the applicant to withdraw without prejudice for the special permit.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? So permit's withdrawn. Request is withdrawn.
Do you want to close the public hearing or ask?
Is there any more questions?
I don't know.
Does the public have any questions? That being said, it's time to go ahead and close the public hearing, so I'll welcome a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So, let's go over conditions.
Sure.
Mr. Wallace did forward me the draft conditions and they're acceptable to us.
I haven't changed anything. I just entered in the date for number 5, site plan, industrial building construction, 14 Leggett Hill Road, prepared for Broomfield Laboratories, LLC, dated March 5th, 2024, prepared by Hannigan Engineering. So I inserted that date.
One that we're missing is the submittal and review of an as-built post-construction.
That will be, yep, that will be number 7. So the site-specific conditions will be the applicant shall abandon the existing water service to 14 Leggett Hill Road, turn the connection off at the water main, and service the existing building off the new water main coming into the site. And then number 7 would be the applicant shall submit an as-built plan at the completion of the project to the planning board. That's it.
So a motion to approve the site plan for 14 Leggett Hill, the 14,000 square foot industrial building, Broomfield Laboratories, with the conditions as read.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous?
Thank you very much.
Very welcome. Good job.
So I'll be writing up the decision early next week, getting it out to the board, and you, once I hear back of any edits, I'll print it out and have Carl sign it, send you a PDF of the signed version.
Okay, thank you very much.
Getting the stack back there. All right. We all set for the next?
And before we begin, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to recuse myself from the Twins application, as I have past employment experience with family members, and I participated in the prior ZBA hearing with Twins.
First, you've got to notify the public that the site plan application for Sterling 228 has been withdrawn, Mr. Chair,
Number 4.
just in case anyone's here for that.
So, number 4, there was supposed to be a public hearing for 1,800 square foot open pavilion at the 228 on Leominster Road in Sterling. That application has been withdrawn. Was there anybody here for that? Okay. All right, so, number 5, public meeting on site plan to review a change of use. Guide landscape alterations at 110 Worcester Road, tax map 126, lot 5, changing from commercial heating contractor yard to a lawn care service. The applicant is Twin Lawn Service LLC. I'll go ahead and read the advertisement, legal notice. Pursuant to section 301, 6.4, site plan review, the Town of Sterling protective bylaws. Notice is hereby given to the planning board. Will hold a public meeting on Thursday, March 7th, 2024 at 6:30 PM in room 205, Butterick Municipal Building, 1 Park Street, to review site plan for change of use at 110 Worcester Road, tax map 126, lot 5, changing from commercial heating contractor yard to a lawn care service. The applicant is Twin Lawn Service LLC. Copies of the site plan can be reviewed at the planning department office during regular town hall office hours.
Okay, board members, as part of your package, you have the special permit issued by the zoning board for the change of use.
Yes, we do. All right, so representing Twins, who do we have?
Brandon Pizarro from Twins.
Can you say that again?
Brandon Pizarro.
Brandon Pizarro. All right, Brandon. Why don't you explain to us what you'd like to do here?
Yep, so,
And right in front of me.
we're proposing the addition of 7 material bins on the southern side of the property, 1 on the northern side and back of the building. And that's pretty much the only change to the property, other than adding some new landscaping in front of the building. So just revising the landscaping in front of the building.
Okay.
Board, the only comment I got from town departments was from the Board of Health asking that the location of the septic system be cited on the site plan. You've done that. Other than that, you've just got a few comments from Graves.
Did you want me to walk through those?
You have them?
Yep. So GIE has no issue relative to compliance with these bylaws. Back up. Graves Engineering has been requested to review the site plan and comment on the documents, conformance with applicable sections of the Town of Sterling Protective Bylaw. GIE understands that the project is a proposed change of use of an existing developed property. Comments as follows: GIE has no issues relative to compliance with these bylaws, except as noted in the 2 following comments. 2, although there is a 10-foot by 10-foot loading area shown on the plan, this loading area would not accommodate the delivery of materials by large trucks, especially trailer trucks. Any vehicles delivering landscape materials to the site may not back onto or off of Worcester Road. The planning board may wish to inquire of the applicant how the delivery of landscape materials will be managed. The planning board may wish to include a condition in its decision that prohibits the backing of vehicles onto or from a public way. 3, none of the outdoor bins can be used for storage of de-icing chemicals, except where the bins are graded and enclosed to prevent the generation and escape of runoff or leachate. And general engineering comments, GI has no issues. And that's it.
Okay. So I guess you can tell us how you plan to receive your deliveries of materials?
Yeah, so the majority of our deliveries do not come in tractor trailers. They come in either, 6-wheel dump trucks or triaxles. We probably get about 7 or 8 tractor trailer deliveries a year. And there is enough of room on the property for a truck to pull in towards the back of the building. Where it says proposed storage trailer on the plan, they could pull in there and then back in accordingly to the bins.
Okay. Right. Does anybody have any questions? And then we'll talk about conditions and things that we've seen at a close look on this plan that are deficient. So, anybody have any questions on the functionality of it?
No.
Okay. First off, we see that in your conditions with the ZBA that you have a small section of fence up along Jewett Road, a very small section of fence. So first and foremost, we're going to be looking to fence in the perimeter of the property. we'll like to work with you a little bit on this as to where you locate your gate, but obviously you're going to really have to be the judge of that as to where you can get in and out most efficiently. We would think that you would probably be putting a gate down in this area here would give you the access to come in and maneuver and come back out here, as opposed to here because you've got parking spaces here.
Yeah, I mean, the existing entry is here.
Right.
We were under the impression we could not add another entry over here, so we were planning on using this as a single point of entry.
You can still use it
Yeah, I mean,
right here if you want. This
but-
is where your gate would end up
Yes,
being.
yeah, theoretically, yes.
You know, this is where you.
So the conditions of the zoning board were that we could not enter through Jewett.
Jewett Road,
Yeah.
right, but this right here, whatever. But if this is your most logical place that you want to come in, that will be fine. So we'd be looking for a solid fence, white stockade.
Where white stock or wood, whatever.
Yeah.
Back here technically doesn't need a fence because the bin block acts as a natural fence. Unless you want to block the bins from the
We do,
back.
we do. So your fence would be a minimum of 6 feet high, is what we're looking for. And, you know, we're also looking for some consistency going down the roadway. When you get to the next project further up, you'll see that it was a white solid stockade vinyl fence that they used there.
This property, right?
No. Nope, it's up at,
Oh, okay, yeah,
Max, up in that there. So we're looking for consistency. Right, so we're looking for consistency and to look appropriate. So we would prefer
Yeah.
if you would go with a vinyl fence.
Okay.
Now, the wood fence, they tend to look pretty dumpy after a while, they turn gray and
Yeah.
they're not very attractive. So we would like something that looks good and
Maintenance free.
conceals a few. What's that?
Vinyl stays
Maintenance
up a
free.
lot better.
Maintenance free.
We were planning on this was planning on being a vinyl anyway, and then we were
Right.
gonna put one here, so that's fine.
You in agreement with that?
If we can have some time to do it, obviously there's a bigger cost than we were expecting, so.
Well, how much time do you need?
6 months.
I suppose the board can debate if they want.
Can we-
It sounds pretty long to me.
We could agree to put this one to be in conformance with the zoning board and then have extra time on the rest.
Yeah, I think we would need it sooner than that.
Yeah, I'd like to see it before summer. I
Can we
mean,
get
you're gonna
3
have a lot
months?
of traffic as soon as you start. You normally start, what, around May? Your first applications and so forth?
I mean, it's going to take a little bit of time to find your contractor and to get the product and to get it installed, so, I don't know, 60 days? 30 to 60 days?
How about split the difference, 3 months?
That's-
Pretty much sounds all right to me.
So, Mr. Chair, you're asking for a condition for a 6-foot solid vinyl stockade fence
Correct.
along the perimeter,
Correct.
and you want the site plan revised to show the fence and the gate location.
That's correct, and I have some further items too,
Okay.
so that gets us past that one. So, looking at your site plan, I went through your application, and your application says 10 parking spaces. I can only find 9 designated here on your plan, and I don't see one that's marked as your ADA, your handicap.
So we can add another one. I don't know why they stopped it here. There's definitely room for another one right there.
That's fine, but we're going to need, let me go through these, and then we'll address them one at a time, that's fine, and then we're going to need a correction in the plan. So, another thing, there's no calculations on your plan as to how anybody arrived at that. What are they calling, what space? Is it office space? Is it manufacturing space? Is it warehouse space? So we don't know the calculations that we used in arriving at the 10 spaces. So typically on our plans, there's a box that shows, you know, what category allows, you know, requires how many spaces. And that's what we use to determine if the calculation's correct. We don't see that, so I don't even know if the 10 is the correct amount. So,
Okay. We can add more spaces in the back too.
I see you've got space, can't be on,
Yeah, there-
not on top of your septic, you won't be able to
Yeah.
put it there, obviously.
We might not build this bin anyway, so this whole area back here can be parking spaces.
So if you stop in or give me a call next week, we'll go through the zoning bylaws, parking requirements, and then we'll figure out what you're gonna need to show on the plan for that.
Sounds good.
It shows here on the plan that I have, 9 by 18, part, 9 feet wide, 18 feet long.
What's that?
He's talking right here.
Oh, yeah, right. But what we're looking for is how the 10 spaces was derived.
No, I know that, I got it.
Yeah. So, like Steve said.
Handicap.
Right, you have to show the designated handicap, right?
10, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So he'll
Yeah, we can.
met with you, so you'll know what to put on the plan, okay? He'll show you the bylaws and go through what part of this building might be office, what part might be
Okay.
storage or whatever, and that's how you come up with the amount of parking. The next one I have is, this parcel is located within the Sterling groundwater district, and no place on this plan does it call that out. It does say it's in Zone 2, I did see that. Did see that somewhere. Yeah, there it is.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that it's in
s-
Zone 2. So you're going to have to add to this plan that it's also within the Sterling groundwater protection district.
Zone
Yep.
aquifer protection zone?
Yeah,
Zone
but we have
two.
we have a local groundwater bylaw.
So you want it in, okay, so you want it to
Just a notation.
specify like another line down there? Okay.
This entire parcel is within the Sterling groundwater district, and that's in addition to Zone 2.
Okay.
The 4.6.6 in its entirety, we'll just make that in the condition, incorporate that in there. In your new site plan, it's got to show the fencing. That's it, that's all I had. So, I think these things here, I think there's just too much here for me to recommend any kind of conditional approval. There's too many things here, so I would recommend that we continue it to our meeting on the 28th. And that would give this gentleman some time to have this plan corrected for these things. We can make a list, Steve, and give it to him, so
Yeah.
he knows what we need, so when he comes back the next time around, he's got everything on there.
Is that enough time for you guys to get the plan done?
Yeah, I mean, I could get it done this week, it's not a problem, yeah. Yeah.
Can you swing by sometime Monday?
Yeah, the
We'll
issue
go-
is the 28th just is a very tight timeline. Having to wait another 20 days in order to get our project underway is a long time, especially with landscape season coming up.
I think that's what, we've got to have a correct plan before we can issue any kind of approval. If there's one or two things, something like that, we've been.
I mean, if I can get you a plan tomorrow, would that be suitable?
But it would have to be reviewed, and then it would have to come back to the next meeting to be voted on. So you'd be looking at the 28th, it's only 2 weeks away.
I think you said 20.
All right. 28th. So I'm going to ask, do we have any questions or comments on this project by anybody in the public? Do you have anything? Brian?
I recall that there were some constraints set forth by the ZBA with respect to what was stored or like how it was stored or something. I'm just kind of wondering what the ZBA had on the storage bins or that review.
Let's take a look.
And whether that should appear on the plan, for instance.
I read the plans in order on what's on the special permit.
Not specifically called out.
It is, a material bin shall be placed on the property in a manner that will not disturb or encroach upon the existing tree and vegetation. And it looks like they came in a distance for the bins on the plan.
I thought I recalled like no salt or something like that. maybe because of proximity to the
The
water.
bin condition that we would be imposing
would be per section 301-4.6.6
That's what it's referring to.
and table 4.6.10 of the protective bylaw. None of the outdoor bins can be used for the storage of the ice and chemicals except where the bins are graded and enclosed to prevent the generation and escape of runoff or leachate.
Yeah, my question is whether they stepped beyond that as a board, the ZBA.
It doesn't look like they did.
No.
Okay, that's just the clarification I was seeking. The other clarification was when the chair introduced this hearing, it was implied that the past use was that of a contractor's yard.
Heating company.
It was a heating company, but the language contractor's yard was used, and I don't think it was approved as a contractor's yard, so it's not, I think it's a conversion use from a.
Special permits for.
Right,
No, the prior use. I don't know, I don't recall that there was a permitted contractor's yard at this location.
There wasn't a contractor's yard at that location.
Okay, but Carl's language implied that, that's all I'm saying.
Change,
Just
on
the
the
way it's
agenda,
introduced.
it's changed from a commercial
Change
heating
of use.
contractor yard to a lawn care service.
It's changed, the use goes from a heating contractor office location. I don't think it was ever, regardless of how it was used, I don't think it was ever approved as a contractor's yard. That's not a by right.
The special
Use.
permit, they have permission to do it.
Now they do.
Yes.
Now they do. I'm talking about the past use.
Who cares about the past use?
It's just incorrect. It's implying that there's a change in use from a contractor's yard to a contractor's yard, which isn't what's happening.
Of course,
It's a contractor's yard.
they were heating contractors, I mean, so.
They were, I hired them.
That's what it's saying, it wasn't a landscape contractor, it was a heating contractor, and that's what they
Just-
were. and that
We'll
was the
take the
yard.
word yard out of the agenda item.
It's a clarification because, the only reason I'm clarifying it is because that is not a by right use. It's a special permit use, as the board knows.
Okay, so we do have some conditions here, so I think what we'll probably do is hold off on these, read all these until our next meeting, and then we can read the conditions out, and then we can check the plan, make sure everything's in order. And then at that point,
Can I ask a question?
we can move forward. State your name and address, please.
Carrie Ann Blair, 12 Jewett Road. So we're right behind. I just don't understand why you waited so long to require all these things from them, rather than before. It seems like a lot for them. Shouldn't it have all been done before? Yeah, before they bought it, about the fence and all the requirements?
Once the plans are all submitted to us, that's when we start looking at it to see what will be required. So we can't address that until we get to the meeting.
Okay.
Brandon, do you have time Monday that you can stop in?
Yeah, I should be able to get there Monday. Yeah, I can stop in on Monday. And then we can go over, that way we can get these to, the surveyor and your fellow, because, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I've got one appointment Monday morning from 9 to 10, but if you stop in anytime.
I'll email you before I come.
Yeah, okay, great.
I have one more question. Can we build our mulch bins before we get approval?
You can't do anything until you get site plan approval. You've already
Even
done
though
too
they're
much,
already
you already
there.
done too much as it is. I have one question in the back of the room, go ahead.
Mike Fazaro with Twins Lawn Service. When you're talking about the perimeter fence, and you said it was gonna be white vinyl the whole way,
Yes,
does that include the whole front?
it does.
Okay, because on that, I know you're making comparison to the one down the street,
Yes.
and the one down the street doesn't have all white vinyl in the front, they have.
It has a section of metal just before for the gate.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I think that's a secondary entrance, potential secondary entrance for them on that spot as well. So the majority of it is white.
Yeah, all around except for the front. I was just wondering about if the front, so.
Yeah, I mean,
if that'd be.
They'll need a section of metal fencing and then have their gate.
So you're gonna require us to have a gate as well?
Well, I think you're gonna need that to get it out and then close your yard up.
Well, I don't have any intention of, I was not gonna put a perimeter fence around unless it was your requirement. I don't have a reason to close my property in.
And then people would see the mulch bins as,
As they drive by the opening, sure.
So that's kind of like we're gonna keep that open. So it'd be more visible from people come by, say, oh, they have mulch. Give them a call or something like that. We kind of want to keep that like more visible than that. We do have a gate in the way back, but we weren't planning on gating the front entrance, so we'd have to lock it up every night to get in and out.
Does everybody feel about that?
I'm not concerned about a security closure. I want the site enclosed, but I'm not overly concerned about a gate.
There's an existing fence on this part of the property. Can we leave that existing fence?
It's pretty decrepit.
The one in back is, but I mean, this one is.
Yeah, I think we're looking for something better than that.
I mean, I just, like, if we can't get, like, I was in agreement to get approval here tonight so that we can move forward with our project to do it in 3 months, but if we're waiting another 20 days and then, you know, like, not getting approval tonight, like, I wanna put up a little fight to that 3 months. Because I do think it's a large expense to have to put up that we weren't expecting, especially when the property is fenced in over there. So I would go back to asking for 6 months to put that fence up. I was originally in agreement just to get this done tonight, but if that's not gonna happen, like, I think we need to go back to the drawing board on the timeline for the fence.
Original agreement.
Our original agreement was just to put a fence here. The only thing with.
Who? Not with
the
us.
Yeah, the
zoning board.
ZBA.
That was with the zoning board of appeals. We're not the zoning board of appeals.
That's not
we're the
here.
planning board.
What if,
I mean, I guess, like, what's the point of blocking that section off? Especially like this section in front. There's a hill with
Talking
trees.
the front section or where you want to
Correct.
enter?
Yes.
Front section?
So, here. There's an existing fence here and here. So this is I'm arguing against putting the fence here.
Yeah. And because this fence is so bad, when it falls down, then what?
Oh, it's a chain link fence.
Chain link.
This section right here?
There's wood, but there's a chain link.
There's some wood right here as
There
well.
is wood blocking the chain link. The wood is dilapidated, it's falling down.
Right.
We can remove that so it doesn't look as bad, and then this is a chain link fence. They put a wooden fence like on the other side of the chain link.
Does everybody think about that?
what about,
Put slats in it.
starting to add plantings here? Like, what if we split the difference, got some of the screening up initially? I know the ZBA wanted that, but I'm not as concerned about that one as I am
They
doing.
were concerned about headlights
Oh,
here.
I know.
If they get
But-
a chain link, they can put, they can put the
Slats.
vinyl slats through it.
Privacy.
On that
So they don't
section?
have to,
In that section?
yeah.
But what if we split the difference on the timing of it, like screening here initially and here, and then
Here,
doing
we're gonna
that?
put some arborvitae's as well.
You know, I'm concerned with the neighborhood on the side street to make sure that,
Jewett?
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like, prior
That's
towards,
us.
Pardon me?
prior towards
That's us.
this
Yeah,
fence
we're the
over
ones
here
that are
behind the
behind.
bins, because this will be
Yeah,
most
you don't wanna look at
active.
that.
Have them do that
That's very important,
priority.
and this, and
They said
fencing
yes,
down
I-
to here is going to
It's
provide
really
some
not that
screening for
bad.
this.
Yes.
And
you know.
truthfully, the
So,
block that you
It
have up
needs
now
that, it needs
cuts
that, it
the
needs that.
lights
Right
from
here, I
the
mean, it's kind of
street.
wooded in there and whatnot, the chain link
Even
fence.
here, they've got a fair amount.
Trying to stay consistent with what we required from the other people, and we start changing.
So fencing here, or,
But I'm sorry, I'm
State your name and
Kim
address, please.
Trainer.
Yep.
I'm with Twins Lawn Service as well. It's a different location. And the problem before was the neighbors had a problem with the business. These neighbors are here supporting us and saying they don't have a problem with the blocks or anything. So I'm not exactly sure why the fence has to go the complete, I don't know. It's not even in the same neighborhood, it's like blocks away from the other building. The gentleman just referred to, we want to keep it the same as the other one, but I'm not exactly sure why if they're not even next to each other.
And they're not complaining.
And yeah, they're not complaining.
I'm here to complain, I'm in the other neighborhood.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's other
He's
people here.
complained about everything.
Yeah, but I mean, he's.
So,
I don't,
You-
I
you
think
take that with a grain of
there's a
salt.
there's a standard, and a standard's been applied to what was a candy store.
Brian, through the chair.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry,
come through the chair, please, one at a time, otherwise it'll get chaotic.
I apologize.
So that's all I'm thinking. These two ladies are here to support us and everything, and they have no problem with it. Because you mentioned the neighbors complaining, but they're not.
I understand what you're saying, but this is something that the planning board is requiring, okay? And we required it up the street, even further than that. At the time, Mackey's was required to put a fence. And this is just something that we required to provide some screening from the activities that are taking place inside. That's something that we require. The neighbors might be perfectly happy with it. That doesn't mean that we are. It's something we require. We represent all the town, not just a few people behind it. So if you pulled all the town, you might get a different sentiment. So that's why we're requiring that. So as far as the gate goes, if you don't want to do a gate, we don't have a problem with that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to do a gate.
But
I
we'll be
want
looking-
it to be as visible as possible.
But we'll
from the
be looking
street.
for a fence on the front side, the back side, and if you got, where your chain link fence, part of that is if you want to put some slats in there to gain some, screening with that.
Oh, can I say something? So the chain link one, where you're, what are they, like the cinder blocks, what are
Yeah.
those big things? Where they're blocking her house, but where my house is, right next door, I wanted some type of just privacy right there. But otherwise, I don't care about.
So there is a
I was gonna
fence,
ask you.
there's a fence going there anyway, because that was required by the zoning board.
Then that's fine.
So I would at least propose a solid fence up to the blocks.
Up to the block.
Why don't you come up here, Brandon, so we know we're definitely talking about the same thing.
So at least, so we were gonna put one here, right? At least to here. I'm fine, I mean, I don't necessarily see the point of putting it here,
Because it's going to provide some shielding for this.
because I mean, that's.
Drive by and it's going to be a nice fence all the way down.
Okay, then I guess I don't understand the front one. I can be in
Because it's
agreement to
gonna-
this.
Because it's going
like
to
the-
provide some screening driving by.
But this is
Yes.
up a hill.
Yes, you'll see some when you drive by here, like you do up the road or Mackey's or any place else, but as you're going by, you'll have some screening here and it'll look good.
If I may, just a question.
Yeah.
That's chain link on the front, correct?
Yeah, and it's up a
So
hill, so
can
you-
they use the privacy slats on this piece?
And that's what I said.
Yeah, so like if we could do that like here and here.
Yeah,
I
I
guess-
misunderstood what you were asking.
So you like,
Or can you mark
I don't know
up
the
on the
rest.
plan what you're gonna ask them for? Maybe that would make it easier.
Mark it up, yeah.
So we have a picture of the building from the street.
So if this is going to be the entry point, then you would have something to here. And then you would.
I got a street.
Then you would pick it up and you would have something from here that would take you down to here. Okay. This is what you'd be looking at, this, and this. Your chain link fence here, if you could put the slats in it here,
Okay, right where
you
the,
could.
right where the slats are.
Here, here, to here. And then to
Okay,
there.
right slats, right where you want them. And then right vinyl fence where you want it.
So like this area that we're. So right, this area I don't want fenced in. Because that's just our parking area. Why do we have to fence in the front of the building and the parking area? I'm making nice landscape additions to the front of the building and over here around the sign. Like I don't wanna have to fence that in. If we have to fence this in because you don't wanna see into the mulch bin area, but here, where it's all open to the street, this area.
What are you planning for landscape there?
Just
Arborvitae's?
mulch beds,
Would-
arborvitae's, like, it's just gonna look really nice.
Would you do a living fence? Would you put in
I could do,
arborvitae's?
we were gonna do a living fence along the front of the street over here. I was gonna do arborvitae's. It's not on this plan. The
Well,
problem is
it
the
should be on
salt.
the plan.
Okay.
Landscaping should be on the.
Well, I mean, it wasn't, something I was gonna do right away, maybe like, down the line, but if it's something we need to do in the more immediate future, we can.
How far down the road?
This summer, if we could agree to that instead of a fence. you already see the ones down at, what, Butterfly, or what is the landscape company? Dragonfly, they put arborvitae's there, and I noticed the other day they're all brown. Probably from the salt.
Oh, I'm sure.
At the end of the day, the vinyls are the same.
If it isn't the salt, it's a liquid
Yeah.
they're putting down, so.
We can keep that a fence, I guess. But here is the area where we were gonna put like a landscape bed around the fence, make this look really nice.
And where's
just
that
nice
on, where's
grass.
that on the map?
I guess
Right
the pole is not on the map, but it's right there.
So I would suggest to everybody that if this could be like a living fence here, this was going to be arborvitae's and plantings here, something that provides some screening, not one every 20 feet that really is nothing. We're looking for screening, and I know you want your place to, you want to see your place and you want to fix it all up to make it look good. I think you can still do that with some good plantings here that will...
Yeah, I think that would look better than a white vinyl fence blocking, I don't know, you drive by places like Mackey and even the fence place, and they don't even look like, you're like, oh, do I pull in here? Is it a place I can even, go and patronize, because you have to drive through this little alleyway to get there.
Are you retailing there?
I mean, we're gonna have mulch sales, not a ton, but it's not gonna be like, people in and out all day, but we do want it to be visible, like for people to come and,
But you're gonna have mulch and stone and
Yeah.
so forth?
I mean, a lot of that is our own use though. It's not, I mean, some of it's gonna be
I
sales.
think you're still gonna find.
Well, I think we're, being visible on the street, we're gonna get a lot more
Accessible.
than we used to get,
You're
yes.
gonna get a decent business,
Yeah.
I think.
But I mean, our business is not just to sell, like,
Oh,
we're
no,
using it
no,
for
I
ourselves, and
realize
then we're selling it as an advantage on the
Definitely
side.
realize that.
So I can agree to that. So,
here's where we're at right now. We have your chain link fence here. You can provide slats for screening there. From this section to where your entry is going to be, where your car is parking, everybody agree that arborvitae row there? And I think you're far enough off the road that salt or anything in the winter would kill
especially if we
those.
put it like up the top of the hill instead of at
Wouldn't
the
kill
bottom of the
those.
hill.
And they'd have to be close enough so that they kill two birds with one stone, that they'd get some screening.
So
and it would look
specify a
good.
distance between 10 feet?
What do they usually go, 6?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 6, I'd say 6, depending how big they are.
6 to 8, no
Yeah.
problem. Otherwise, they won't grow together. Okay. They're gonna be green giants, even on.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do green giants so they're fatter instead of
Okay.
the tall skinny ones.
And then we'll have fencing from here, here, and here.
Yes.
Okay, are
White
they,
vinyl.
when you say fencing from here to here to here, are you?
Solid
Across
white.
the back.
Solid white, okay.
Yep.
So if you're clear with that, and you can instruct your surveyor to,
Yeah, I'll have them put separate, he'll do something separate to.
Yeah, I made a mess of this plan. If somebody wants to give me a plan, I'll write it a little more legible for you.
We got one.
Steve, we got one.
Shows up?
My question is, time-wise, are we gonna change it from
I think
90 days or?
for all of it,
Sets
or
up.
do you want to give them a little time to do the back part?
So here.
90 days.
90. It's $40,000 worth of fence. Like, that's why I asked for 6 months.
In parking places, right?
What about 90 days for the front and side? And then just a little extra time for the rear? Because the bins, the vegetation's gonna fill in, we'll get some, and then, you have to finish it within a year, so.
I was originally gonna ask for a year because I thought we had a year to meet.
You have to finish it before, there's extensions, but we'll want to see it before that, but would you be willing to do? Because really, I know, people do complain, and I've heard a lot of them. So the biggest complaint is this visual here.
From the street.
front and the side, yeah, of the bins. So if we did that as a priority, and then, you know,
Yeah,
cleaning
I
up the
can-
plantings and
I
stuff
can
like
do
that,
that,
would
yeah.
you?
How about 3 months and 3 months?
That's,
That work?
It's still a lot of money,
I
but
know, it's a lot,
like, we just bought a build, like, you know, I gotta come up with 40 grand to put up a fence, it's not,
Can we trim the vegetation in back, since we're gonna put up a fence?
yeah, we had agreed that we wouldn't touch the vegetation per the zoning board. If we're gonna put up a fence, we're gonna need to trim, because we can't put a fence up there without cutting those,
Well, you'd be on the inside of that, wouldn't you?
we're gonna have to do it on the outside, because we agreed that we'd keep that vegetation 20 feet in. The fence is gonna have to be closer to the road, or like, we're gonna have to cut some of the vegetation so that we can get the fence
So
in.
board members, this is a prime example of why the planning board should handle both the special permit and the site plan, so that we don't have contradictory
so,
conditions.
We have a tree that's back there, we have a tree that fell, it actually fell on his car. So there's 2 more trees that we need to cut down, but we were like, we don't even know if we can cut them down because of our agreement with the zoning board.
so we just make sure we write that condition, if we allow them to cut the trees, we make sure we write the condition clear enough that if anyone sees this, they know that we have superseded that one.
We don't wanna cut all the big trees, we just wanna cut the small ones and the dead ones.
I think what I'd probably do before I say yes, go ahead and cut trees, is I think I'd meet you guys down on the site and have a look.
Yeah, we have pictures of,
Okay.
but they're kinda crappy pictures, but you can see the one that fell and the one that circled. They're pretty small.
Yeah, I mean, this,
I know.
The closer it is to the road, the more risk they have of having that fence damaged.
Have a look.
Mr. Chairman, earlier, before the fence got discussed, the 18-wheelers or larger trucks were discussed, and I'm just wondering if it looks like the fence plan might constrain the trucks. I mean, having dealt with large trucks myself in constrained spaces, the fence can really be a problem.
If it's out at the perimeter on the property line, there should be plenty of distance, because they wouldn't be able to back out onto Route 12 or anything like that anyway.
Okay.
There's
It's
a
just,
large-
they can get in, it's just like getting them out without damaging your fence gets difficult at a certain point.
Is that excavator yours?
the excavator is not, it's there to move blocks, it's one of my friends.
Yeah, once the blocks are moved, that's not gonna be there anymore.
So that's an
The only reason I asked
ice.
is the width of that excavator, you're gonna.
Yeah, no, that's only there to move the blocks. Once the
Okay.
blocks are in, it's leaving. So that eyesore will be gone once the blocks are moved.
No, I was just looking
Yeah.
at the width of ice. You know, to get that, you gotta bring in a low bed to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
that thing on.
We'll see just how close that front property line is to the road.
So how far off the road should the fence be?
Law, you can put it right up against it, but
Yeah, at least 50.
property line.
It can go on the property line.
Well, we'll probably put it back at least 10 feet. We don't want to get it damaged.
You just don't wanna take the beating from the plows,
Yeah, so 15 feet, give it, okay.
and they will.
Because that's state run.
All right, so we have arborvitae 6 feet apart here, up to here. We have the existing fence is gonna have vinyl slats here and there. And then we're going to have a white fence here, here, and here.
Yep.
So, like Patty had said, the issues that the complaints that we've heard are coming from this direction here, so which one goes first and which one goes second? Which one,
So let me make sure I'm clear here. That fence is okay.
you know,
Vinyl fence back here and here
to there, that's
to
it.
there.
Yep,
That's open.
it's open,
Arborvitae's from here to here,
correct,
and a fence from here to here,
which is already there.
which is already
So,
there.
so the wood that's there, you're gonna get rid of that?
I'll get rid of all the dilapidated wood. We already got rid of some of it, but then it's
There's only a few
so,
more pieces of wood.
Yeah.
There's maybe,
there's some of it on the
Four
ground that
pieces.
needs to be picked up and just thrown in the dumpster.
All right, so now it's just a matter of timing.
And parking places.
Parking, right.
There's plenty of room for
This'll-
parking places, we just need to put them on the plan.
in the calculation.
So,
It's pretty.
30 days for this fence here, that seems to be what we hear the most about, and then 90 days for this, and then another 90 days for this.
90 days for the,
Okay.
So,
That's,
it gives you the 6 months
Okay.
to complete the whole thing,
okay, I'm good with that, yeah.
okay? And I think that will look good.
Yeah,
Arborvitae's there, I think it will look good.
I think it'll look better than a white fence all the way around, yeah. Okay, I'm good with that.
Oh, yeah, that's about the sign.
Do I need your approval for a sign? Use the existing pole? That's,
Yeah, just check with the commissioner.
I-
Usually, even if you change it out, like, you're gonna just use the same.
I'm using the same pole, so this is the pole, existing pole. It's gonna get cut down like 2 feet and then just a sign.
Was that Connor sign that you're
Yeah.
using? Yeah, just, he'll apply for a permit.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
not a problem.
I just wanted to make sure you guys were good with it.
Yeah, no, we'll be fine, and it's just a permit.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry to push the parking issue, but I'm concerned just partly because of the speed of traffic on Route 12, that LTL truckers, even if it's 6 or 7 loads a year, LTL truckers are really hard to control, meaning you don't know when they're arriving exactly and how they might approach your lot. So I'm wondering whether, like, I can't see the fencing plan, but how do you prevent the trucker from parallel parking on Route 12 and expecting a skid loader to come take the pallets off right along Route 12?
So anything delivering a pallet to my property would come on a flatbed, not a tractor trailer. So maybe like a 40-foot long flatbed that's gonna pull into the lot, and it usually has a little thing on the back of it, like one of the load trucks that you see that unloads the pallets. Yeah, the trailers that are delivering mulch are like floor trailers that would come in.
Okay. So they have to get in.
And those are typically delivered from the same company. So the same driver usually comes every single time, so after the first time, I don't see it being a problem.
They're essentially spot.
And then I don't plan on having salt at the property. Salt comes in a smaller trailer, but I don't intend to have salt there. I have a different site in Worcester where we store our salt.
Those are good clarifications, because the live trailer, it's a spot dump essentially from a big trailer, so they have to get it to the point. Thank you.
Okay, so, all that being said, I've got it drawn out here on the plan for him.
You can give that to the applicant, so.
Yep, I'll give this to you, and I'm also going to write down the things that it needs on the back of here, so you'll have all the information, so when you come back, you can be complete, okay? If you just give me a second, unless Steve's already written them down.
Add ADA space on plan. Add a parking calculation table per zoning.
I can write it.
Add a note regarding the groundwater protection district. Add landscaping. And then add the fence that we discussed. So landscaping and fence per the graphic that he marks up.
You need to show where you're gonna put lighting, because you're probably gonna have lighting on the yard, right?
There's one existing spotlight on right here
So just
that
put it
lights
on
up
the-
the.
And so we just gonna make sure it stays on, the light stays on the property, but just make sure it's on the plan too.
Okay.
You marked it. Is the septic on here? I don't see it.
He gave me another plan at the beginning of the meeting that showed
Oh,
something
okay.
right there.
That was the other board. Okay, I was wondering why you saw it and I didn't.
That's existing septic, right?
Yes.
Do you get the turnaround thing too? The grave set? No backing into the.
That would be in our conditions.
That was
right?
already in the conditions.
That was in the conditions, right. Well, this is just, I'm just writing down now what he has.
Oh, there it is.
What he has to show on the plan,
Yep,
then next meeting, we'll read the conditions. All right.
I know what the answer probably is, but if we started on the fence now, or do we need your approval before we can start on the fence? Because like my guys were gonna start building the bins, but now if they can't do those, I need to keep them busy. They start.
You can put a fence up on your property. It's the construction of the site itself without site plan review that's.
Okay.
You wouldn't be happy if you built all your bins right here and came to the meeting, we said, sorry, you're going to have to move them all over to
Yeah, but
here.
you're good with where they are, right? Like, and the blocks are already there, that's my argument against, just move, like, the blocks are just scattered all over the
Asked you
yard.
to move them, but that's the reason why you have to come to site plan review before you do that stuff, because what you might want to do and then what you can do might be two different things, and you don't want to have to do your job over again because they're in the wrong spot. So, but where they are now, where they're going to be all constructed, we have no problem with that. Everybody
So
else?
it's gonna be continued until
Continue to the 28th. Yeah, there's a lot to do here. Okay, so I guess we'll take a vote on continuing the public meeting to the 28th.
Motion to continue to the 28th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We'll see you on the 28th.
All right,
Don't
thank you.
forget to see Steve on that parking, get
Yep.
that square.
All right, thank you.
All right. You're welcome. All right. So, what's that?
Minutes are good.
What a joy.
There's only one change.
Not yet.
How are we doing?
Good seeing you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, you just got the minutes.
One
You
change.
abstained from the,
Yeah, from the Stonecrest Way, that vote was
Yeah.
4-0 because I was
Yeah,
out
got
and
it.
I was recused.
duly noted.
Other than that,
And on Cynthia and Craig Miller, Miller, not Milan.
Okay, which line?
third line down on people attending, right side.
Miller?
Yeah, Miller, Cynthia and Craig Miller, Miller.
Got it.
Love it, that guy's name's probably Jim, not him.
Yes.
Not that it matters.
Which line?
Right above.
Right
Craig.
above it, you have HIM.
Yeah, got
instead
it.
of JIM.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
That's it. I only saw.
I don't know their names anyway, I know the difference.
Yeah, I know. Jim.
All right.
Second.
I'm all set, if everybody's all set, I'll take a motion.
That we approve the minutes with those two corrections?
So moved.
February 22nd, 2024 minutes. I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous.
That's it. So for the 28th, we'll have the gentleman from Twin Lawns back, and we'll have our public hearing for revising the subregs to add our bond reduction language that we've been working on. And that's it.
The cell tower didn't get it on time?
No?
Haven't heard from them again?
No, they got in touch, but.
Oh, okay. Just haven't got.
I haven't gotten anything yet. That gentleman from Twin Lawns, I cut him a break by letting him have his site plan prepared by a surveyor as opposed to an engineer. With the sob story of wanting to get started early and the fact that it was a simple change of use.
I think that may be why there was errors on the plan.
Surveyors aren't adept.
They're not the same.
Yeah, not the same. So that's just one of the hundreds of judgment calls I gotta make.
And you know what?
Well, it wasn't
We
overly
had this
complicated,
discussion
so
If it was
you would've
taken care of the right way, it wouldn't happen.
Yeah,
Maybe
so,
we don't
see,
ever saw from something else we
yeah,
were working on tonight.
that's true, yeah. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't all there, it was missing a little bit too much for me. so.
I know, and we've done pretty good working down Worcester Street, Route 12,
Right.
having people, we have all the rallies, the
Route 12 does look a
fencing
lot
in the
more
back,
coherent. with every,
And,
once Mackey had that, and then the
Mackey's
fence
and-
company had that, it's
Fence
kind of
company.
that continuation
That's what we're looking
along
for,
the
we're
line,
looking for some
rather than
consistency.
having open semi-industrial areas.
You know, it's one thing to say with these people here, you know, well, it doesn't bother us, but if they
Well,
go up
yeah.
and sell their house, somebody else moves
Well,
in and goes, I
then if
don't
they
like
sold
it.
it, or you got Brian, who's the next door neighbor, who says, you, oh, sorry, shouldn't.
Still on the air.
We are in the air, you are correct. But, yeah,
Yeah.
what's good for one is good for all.
I think
It's true,
consistent.
and you have to think of the future too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's even the pit right up the road, those fences were added not that long ago. It kind of continues that trend of shuttering off a lot of stuff that isn't necessarily visually pleasing.
It's gonna look neat.
Exactly. I think with the plan, I think with the trees on the front where the building is, because the building looks good, it's a good
Yeah, I
looking
don't think it's a
building.
bad looking
Building's a
building
great
at all.
looking-
It's a good looking building, it's gaining some shielding from the bins.
Yeah, and then the other thing, like she says she doesn't care about the bins, but the fence will help with sound too. There's gonna be a lot of beeping. And then just the bang of the equipment, so it'll all help. And yeah, they're okay with it, but I do hear a lot of complaints, so,
Like I said, it's not just them, it's, you know, we
Yeah.
represent everybody.
yes. I mean, it's nice of them to come supporting, but.
That's all I have for you.
All right, I'll see you Saturday at
Good.
9:30 at our
Good.
forum.
Yeah, we had the first economic development forum last night over at the town hall, old town hall. It went well, 40 people there.
It's not a bad turnout.
Good turnout.
Kind of like herding cats on occasion, but a lot of people
Cats with rabies.
had their own agendas, but, you know, we got some good feedback, and I hope we get the same on Saturday morning.
That would be nice, for the effort.
It's the whole purpose of it, right? Get the feedback.
Adjourn, go home.
That's it.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Favor?
Aye.